Again, let's just use that slide edge tool just to slide that up a bit. There we go, it's not looking too bad. So now we've got nice kind of control here, and what I'm thinking is we had another loop in. To make sure that hasn't affected too much. What I'm thinking is we had another loop in here now for this. We'll see if Insert Edge tool will do that for us. And it has. So if we just go to vertex mode, pull this stuff up here. There we go, that's looking pretty good. Obviously though, we do need to check that that's still nicely following that topology we made. And also, of course, we're going to need another loop here, so that's actually quite useful because it means we can bring this one down. So it looks like we may need to pull some of this back inside here as well. This is quite useful because the more you kind of add in, the more you can fix stuff at the same time. As long as you're as methodical as possible in tweaking stuff as you go along. So this bit will be quite hard to get right. It will take quite a lot of just vertex manipulation to get that spot on. And also, as we can see here, we didn't tweak these earlier, which is fine, you know, that's not something we're particularly trying to sort out at the time. We'll probably find we need to mess with these later as well, but I do like to try and get them kind of at least roughly right. Okay, so that's not looking too bad. You can see we've got some good control over this now. So that was another kind of quite hard bit. Of course, one thing we need to do is select that and just soften that off. It looks like here I've got a couple of edges here to soften off as well. So yeah, you can see we're getting that kind of slightly dented look in places. That's just areas that we need to kind of match up a little bit. So I wonder if I'm just going to try matching that onto there for a start. And let's check this line here as well. So for one sec, I just want to have a look at the curvature of that wheel arch without the verts there for a sec. I'm going to select this whole kind of set here as well. So let's look at this from our back view as well. And we can really see there's a slight problem there. Don't think that should really start to stick out like that. What I mean is, if you see that vert there, yeah, we actually want these to come in a little bit further. Okay, so that's okay for now, I think. We'll harden that edge off as well, just to get that wheel out shape in there. So we can see that's starting to come along now. So one little thing, if we just select this model here, if you did put these keyframes in that turned out to be useless, if you want to get rid of them, you'll notice that if you freeze transform you can't. You can delete history, but obviously the keys will remain. So what you can do is just right click on this and just go to mute all, and that will allow you to delete the keyframes without the model kind of changing in any way. And then we can select both of these and just do freeze transform. So one thing we could do here is just combine these together and then weld these, making sure your threshold isn't too high. So let's just quickly check that's nicely welded, and yeah, it seems okay. So now we've got one kind of nice shape on this. Let's delete history now to get rid of that, and we'll rename this now something sensible. Let's call it chassis or something like that. Now one thing we could do with this is quickly move our pivot point onto the edge of this model here, and then we can use symmetry on this as well. So you could maybe use it in the modelling toolkit. So if we go to edge mode, select that, alright, so what we need to do is right click and do shift right click to mirror polygon, mirror this on -Z, and then go to edge mode, select that edge and hit symmetry. Now you should find that you can edit your model like that, which can be nice and useful, although obviously it does mean that you'll be able to see two sets. So like if I go to my front view here and just turn that on, it can make it a little bit more awkward to edit, but looks kind of fine in this case, to be fair. So okay, so that's a good kind of start to our car. The next thing we'll do is just kind of stick this back end bit on it here. So let's go to our front view. What we'll do for now, just to do this nice and quick, is extrude an edge out to here, F9 to go to vertex mode, and we'll just pull this kind of up to here. And we'll just make sure that this is sitting where we want it to sit. So actually this needs to come back to here, so one thing we didn't do earlier, and this needs to come back to here. And this vert what I'm going to do for real quick is just hide this model here and just check where that kind of ends. So actually this is kind of really close up here. Okay, so that'll do for now. So the next thing we want to do is come in here, and we might need to just pull these along a little bit. And then we can so this is one problem we've got with the symmetry here. And what you can do, see if I'm in my front view, what I want to do is select say here to here, but because it's clicking on the edge back here won't let me do it. So you can just either turn that off or just like not use it at all, use duplicate special or something like that. So I think I don't really need this to tell how my shape's going, so I'm just going to delete it off. Come back into my front view here and easily now select that loop. So we'll extrude that up and put this into place. Scale in to get that line a bit straighter. Well, have a look, you can see here we've got a couple of lines here, so you'll want to check some of your plan images. Probably might not be able to tell on this one. So I can see that's kind of a nice straight edge up there. But it might be better if we got a different image for that, something like that. So I'm going to put this on my other monitor. So we're going to need another line there, so what I'm going to do is actually, yeah, I think that will stay about there. These will come in. We'll put that up to about there. So you can see that's actually quite a nice kind of straight edge on there. But what we'll need to do, of course, is at least add in another loop. What I'm going to do is use the slide edge tool here. Just slide this down here. Then maybe we'll put another loop up here and bring that round like so. So what I really actually want to do maybe is pull this up to about here, now I think about it. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to use this to extrude along here. So what I mean by that is this edge here. Yeah, in fact I will do that straight away. So we'll just pull that out. And we're going to pull it up to, say, this edge here. We'll also snap it onto there like that. So we're going to need another loop in here as well to get that kind of curvature. But for now, let's just get all this detail in. Okay, so that isn't a bad start. So we'll extrude that out again, this time up to about there. Then press G just to redo that command. And let's just check this on this view as well. So at the moment I'd say it's looking a little bit so extrude that one out again and bring it down to where the edge of the windscreen is here. Let's probably do about there. So we might find later on we put another loop in here, but for now that's okay. So we can see we've got this handy kind of edge that we made earlier for extruding that out to there. So we're going to use the merge vertex tool just to snap those two on. Snap the wrong one on there. Easier to do it from this view, like so. And again, what we want to do is just connect this component, pull that out. And again, just connect those on. Just get these lined up as best as you can. Okay, so let's have a look at that now from this view here. There we go, that's looking reasonable. Obviously there's not much detail in it yet, but you can see where that's going. It's following the shape reasonably well. So I'm probably adding in kind of more detail than I should at this stage. But we'll end this tutorial and you guys can just carry on doing this yourselves when I've put in this roof bit. So if I just drag this out, get that kind of nicely straightened up, and if I just use V I can snap it to there so I know that that's kind of spot on. And let's get this nicely kind of lined up depending on what we've got here. And that's probably not far off, to be fair. So let's check this in our front view. So obviously we can see the line where this should go up to, right here. Remember, if you use right on your keyboard you can cycle along verts. There we go, maybe something like that. And also what we're going to need to do is add another loop about there. Because when you look on here you can see it goes up there I'll just show you. So it's kind of going there to there, up a bit, and there to there, up a bit, and there to there, up a bit. So that's why we need 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we look on our model, see we got 1, 2, 3, and then 4 at the end. So I'm thinking we push this line up slightly here as well, like that. Should be useful for smoothing as well, actually. Obviously there's no rush with this one though, don't rush into it, just go in and again just follow that line as best you can. So as I said before, remember you can use right in this case to cycle along those vertices. And then our usual thing of just selecting them, and we'll just soften those off. Might need to soften that one off as well, on that mist. Okay, so we're definitely getting there with this now. Okay, so just thought we would add in a couple more small details. First thing we're going to do is just add some loops in around this roof here. So maybe one loop there and one loop there. Also what I'm going to do is just delete off my symmetry area. Because I've added 2 loops here, I think what I'll also do is add a loop here and a loop here in order to help define the shape of this bonnet. And also it means that the edge flow will be spot on. You might want to check that relative to the front view of the car, so left view in this case. You can see that line is actually kind of relatively straight. Could pull these ones down slightly. And also what I'm going to need to do at some point is line these up to this headlight as well. So we could try, well, I might try it just using, well, definitely not that big, just using a bit of soft selection on this. And my soft selection is obviously set to a previous file size, so it's pretty big. So I might be able to just let's just get that back to where it was, set that to about 22. Oh, that's probably too large there, so I need to turn that off. And we can already see here, actually, where I've put this loop here, this is going to be better off actually here instead, because this can be this edge here. So again, my soft select's probably a bit too high, so I'll turn that down. And here I can probably increase it up a bit again. So this shape here might need another loop in there, but for now I'll just leave it as is, just because I'm going to come back to that a bit later anyway, but at least now we've got a more kind of realistic shape on there. So we still need to amend the top as well. So follow, you see where there's two lines on that, it'd be worth checking what those are, and that just looks like it's the top of the, yeah, see this black area around the glass, so we want to be matching this to that. Sorry, I just realised the picture's on the other monitor there. So you can see that line there is actually the black rim around the glass. So we want to pull that back into here. And the same on this side. What I'm going to need to do here is pull back some of these details, because this line here is where the roof ends, and this is the spoiler, and we're going to do the spoiler as a separate piece. So you will want the spoiler as a separate piece for most kind of racing games, mainly because in most racing games you're going to be able to tweak that. So let's look at this from the, you're going to be able to change that spoiler. Let's look at this from our left view as well. So I cannot emphasise that point enough, and I've already said it many times, but just making sure that you check your model from as many views as possible. So there's our back view, so we want it along this line here, so let's make sure that that line is following that. It's pretty close actually. There we go, that should do it. Okay, so we've got a bit more structure now to that and that. A couple of other real small things I'm going to do. If we look at the picture from the side, you'll notice we've got this hard edge here, this thin bevel. So let's just add that in now. And we probably shouldn't add this in now, I should probably add it in later, but we're just going to add it in now, just so we can work through that kind of thing. So I'm just going to select that loop and then bevel it, and then maybe set my fraction to about 0.2, and then either select the outer or the inner one. We just want to pull that in slightly. So pull, let's just undo that. Turn off soft select, of course. Select the inner line and pull that one in slightly. So now you can see we've got that nice kind of defining edge. It's not looking quite so nice around that area, so let's just examine that. So we can see we haven't quite got a straight line here, so we're going to want to tweak that so that's looking a bit nicer. Get that kind of perfect kind of curvature on it. Okay, something like that. And then we'll also want to check it from the top view as well. So again, that looks like it's sticking out a bit much. I'm just going to hide this shape and let's see what that line does. So that line should be nice and straight. Okay, so it looks like we've got a few little problems there. We really want to be lining this up like that. It's a bit better, so it's more of our wheel arch has actually got, and that shape has got a few problems. So there we go, that's probably a bit better. There you go, it's a nice kind of straight edge on that now. So another thing we might want to do, if we just have a look at the picture, is this little bit here. And like I said before, that could just be a push through, but since we've made the geometry for it, we could just extrude face on that. Maybe set the offset to about 0.2, go straight to move mode, and then back to front view. And just use your reference to see how that actually is. So you can see it's quite a soft kind of bevel along here, but a sharp one on the base, and that actually goes to more of a point there. So what we probably want is that coming in there, and that coming in there like that. So yeah, maybe something like that. Let's just check the end bit. Yeah, so that's not far away. So what you might want to do is smooth this bit as well. And also let's just select it and pull it out a bit more. Like that. Okay, there we go. So we've got a few extra kind of details in our model now. Like I said, it's not always the best to put those bits in yet, because you're still modelling like the base shape, so that's actually inadvisable what I did there. But I did want to show you that as just the last part of this tutorial.